All right, welcome back, everyone. Tim Marlowe here with Be the Better Local. Andy Vargo's here with me, and we're going to get to know a local here from Tacoma and just get to know more about what he has going on and the services that he's going to bring to the community as a local that's kind of stepping out of the comfort box so we can be the change needed in the world today. So welcome Aaron Reinhardt, also known as Social Currency. He has a brand. He's, I don't know if he produces music, but he is well into the music. We met through Cole Z here, a local artist in the Tacoma area, rocking it with new music. But we're here to talk about you and your story. Welcome, my friend.
Oh, man. Well, first off, I got to just say thank you for the introduction, man. I already feel the energy right now.
Let's get it.
Yeah, so let's do
fun.
it. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about it because your brand, because I have an idea what I think social currency is. But this is something that you wear daily, just like I wear BDLocal. Andy here wears Own Your Awkward. So for you to put it on your chest and on your hat and have other people wear it as well.
Right.
There has to be something big to it. So tell me a little bit about social currency.
Yeah, so, for the people who don't know me or for the people who do know me, my name is Aaron. I put it like this. Back in 2015, I believe, I'm walking through the mall with one of my best friends, Michael. So this man is like, he's noticing that I'm saying what's up to everybody, shaking people up. And he just asked me, he just tasked me, he says, hey, man, how is it that you know all these cats with a job, but you don't have one? I said, damn. And I was just like, well, I was like, man, I just left Portland State University. I'm just trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So he said this. He says, have you heard of social currency? And I said, no. I said, what's that? And he said, that's where you take your resources and you utilize it. You're not doing that. So moving forward, I ended up winding up getting a job working at Toyota.
Okay.
So I was selling cars, doing the salesmanship, right?
Yeah.
So there's this gentleman. He comes in. He's like, hey, Aaron. He's like, I want to sell my van. Leans in closer. He says, not really. I want to tell you a life secret. He said, do you want to learn how to become a multimillionaire? And I said, yeah. I said, tell me. He said,
Right.
He said, what are 3 things that you did as a kid that you still do today, but you haven't monetized it? I said, I never thought of it like that, right? So moving forward, I wound up getting another job working at Lululemon doing security. So
Okay.
every morning I'll check people in and out. So there was also a whiteboard behind me. So I'm always writing positive quotes on the board, telling people, in a sense, showing my mindset, my thoughts, right? And this lady, I'll never forget her. Her name is Arlene Fan. She walks up to me and she says, Aaron, you don't know me and I don't know you, but I'm going to tell you something right now. You're not meant to work for nobody else but yourself. And I said, wait, what? And I was like, you don't even know me. And she's like,
Right.
no. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I read your thoughts. I know where your mind is and where you want to go. So with that being said, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I sat there and I was like, damn. I was like, well, thought back to what the gentleman asked me about the 3 questions or 3 things I did as a kid. I was like, well, I always loved to socialize. I always loved to be around kids. And I love just to bring people together and network. And we're putting fashion together.
Right.
And so I was like, So I was like, if it's fashion, kids, and networking, what's the name for that? Social currency popped up in my head. So then I sat there and I was like, wait. So this is what happened. She's like, okay, so you got the social currency, right? Let's create a brand. And I said, create a brand? And she was like, you're already a brand within yourself.
Right.
Now, why don't you create something that's outside of you, almost like a different entity?
So people can see you and understand your brand. Yeah, and that's the trick, is to be able to relay what's going on inside your heart to the world somehow, right? It's
Right.
like you know it.
So with that being said, what I did was we actually created a 6-month class where I would go, or a 6-month course where I would go to her every morning, sit down with her for about 2 hours and go over everything that she knew in fashion. So moving forward, one of my good friends, Devon C., he sees what Arlene and I are doing, and he's like, hey, man, he's like, look like you're working on some fashion stuff, right? He was like, well, look, how about this? I don't know if you have a graphic designer or anything, but I make logos. He's like, I can make you a logo. And I was like, what? He went home, whipped it up within a day, brought it back to me, and was like, hey, man, here you go. And I never changed it.
Nice.
So essentially what social currency is to me is utilizing our network to increase our net worth, because we all know somebody who knows somebody, but how do we use that 6 degrees of separation? And so with me, it's about really finding not only like-minded people, but creating a vehicle that can actually sustain intergenerational wealth through networking and the people that you know.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
social currency to me.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful. So you learn how to make it happen just by working your network, and then how do you grow that network?
So that's the thing. I'm not even gonna front. I started making clothes in 2016, right? You know, was able to sell out. I did the whole, in a sense, selling out my trunk and
Right.
meeting up with people. That was cool. But now in the year of 2020, how I built my fan base was really just for me, just being who I am. You know, really actually coming up to you,
Yeah.
talking with you, and in a sense sharing my vision or sharing my story.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, as far as in the sense of a brand, that's the part that I'm actually working on currently because I see it being something that the masses can get a hold of. It just for me, I've always been in a sense, what's the word? Inner city with it. You know, it's like, yeah, I was able to go out to California and do my thing out there, but it's like, how come I can't go out to Japan? How come I can't go to Africa? You know what I mean? And in a sense, get into more of like spreading more of the message
Right.
versus just
get
the
all over
product.
the world, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested. I mean, was what the conversation you had with the other gentleman and what those 3 items were that you kind of still do, and go a little bit deeper on that because that's exactly what more people need to think about because a lot of people seem lost today, like they don't have a purpose. But if you think about what the things that we're already good at and what we love, and really that's what the passion is, where we would do something out of without getting paid for it. You know, we'll do it when we're tired.
Come on,
and
come
we're
on.
not getting paid for it. Yet, you know, it's something that that fire won't die. So tell me again those 3 items that you still kind of do.
Yeah. So actually, it's funny because it's just like, you know, growing up in life, you think that you have, in a sense, for me, let's speak for myself, I had a set idea for what it was I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And so as I got older and I saw that I was actually drifting away from that and tapping more into the entrepreneur route, I was just like, well, how can I utilize this to my actual traits, to my character, to my likeness? So for me, it was working with children. You know, my mother, she's really big on it. She's always reminded me, she's like, son, why don't you do something for the kids? Whenever kids come up to you, they love you. And it's funny story. So I used to work at Nordstrom, right? Working at the kids' shoes department. So I remember, you know, me being a 6'4" dude, you know, but I'm suited and booted, you know, got the 3-piece suit on, right? But these kids are terrified of me. You know, every time I walk up to them, they'll just start bawling out. And I'm just like, man. So what I did was I had to add a little flavor. So that's how I got into actually collecting socks by wearing more colorful socks, wearing something that was actually catchy to the kids' eyes. So it kind of, in a sense, brought that familiarness to them. Then, you know, by just bringing a balloon around the corner, you know, those kind of things. But moving forward, I always found, for me, I believe in passing down something to the next generation because for me, I always been a person where I had mentors. I always had somebody who, in a sense, directed me as far as, hey man, you're going too left when you need to stay right here. You know, and so it's just like children for sure, fashion, and it's because my mom always put into my mind that your appearance is everything. You know, your first impression is everything, and people will judge you off of that. So with you already being a threat, she was like, why don't you find a way to actually, in a sense, kind of
Soften that a little bit.
Soften it a little bit, but with your appearance. And she was like, because you already have a likable face. People already see that you know, you're not a threat. But from a distance, or if they don't know you, they think something else was. So she was like, you know, your appearance is everything. Wow. And then, so, you know, just having that mindset growing up, I adopted that. And then lastly, just networking. You know, growing up, I went to 6 different schools, and it was one of those things where I was always moved around, but I always met the right people, or I met people that I'm friends with to this day. You know, we have 10 plus years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So how is this? You've made this change with what you're focusing on. You said, okay, I'm going to go for this. How has that changed your life? Like your day to day, is it any different? Same guy getting up in the morning?
Man. Well, let's keep it honest, right? When I had the mindset of being working for a corporation, you know, they already have what time I need to get up. They already have what pay I'm going to get. They already have things already in place or structured that's already going to give me that reassurance that, oh, I'm fine. But as an entrepreneur, that's a day-to-day grind, you know, and it's one of those things where I think first for me, it starts with the mind. You know, what I tell myself when I wake up, what does the first hour in my day look like? To me, those are things that are important because that results, the rest of the 24 hours I live throughout my day.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Man, you gotta meet our other guests. I know you got to talk to him a little bit out there, but you got to connect with Kadeem, man. I think that would just be a great connection. Just swapping stories and just see where that goes, man.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, talking about all these things from your past and how it's kind of molded you into who you are now. How did that help with just creating self-worth?
Man, really, first it was me understanding what does value mean to me, because if I'm going off of if I'm going off of other people's expectations or other people's agenda, besides my own, then I would never get ahead.
Right.
And so for me, I found my self-worth by just knowing that I could do something.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm able to, in a sense, use the word social currency, but now have an emblem that represents something. To me, those are in a sense, that's the separation.
Right.
Yeah, I think just reinvesting into yourself, knowing that if you reinvest in yourself, you have created your own self-worth. Because if you're not reinvesting in yourself, you don't think you're good enough.
You have to see the value of investing in yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Wow. Well, talk to us a little about the future. 2020 was kind of one really, really unique year that will probably be in every high school yearbook as you know what I'm saying? Just crazy stuff, all those different things. But it's definitely a year that we're going to be talking about, but not only because of all the downplay, the dark, the things that are bad happening in the world, but the good things that are happening, the people that are moving through adversity, people that are creating when people are saying you're not allowed to create. So talk to us a little bit about your future.
So for me, the first thing that came to mind is the terminology powernomics. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No, I have no idea.
It was actually created by a gentleman named Dr. Claude Anderson.
Okay.
And essentially what it represents is how do you take African Americans or Black Americans and teach them how to be self-sufficient and economically stable. So for me, when I heard about that terminology, I was like, what does that really mean? So I actually purchased a book named Powernomics, and it actually has a whole plan of how to actually go about this. And it's for every African American to use this plan. So when I found out, I said, hold on, there's a plan out there that I can
I just gotta follow that. And
thank you. So moving forward, I actually adopted that into my lifestyle and how, in a sense, what do I want to display? So going into the year of 2021, I actually want to start a campaign of Powernomics, but through social currency. So in a sense, it's like how I always see it. It's like a social enterprise. Just how there's Nordstrom, but underneath Nordstrom, you have different departments.
Right.
That's how I see. Right.
Yeah, you got to have that big picture to be able to see where you're going to go, because you can't just keep doing what you're doing today and grow. You got to be adding stuff in.
Yeah, you got to find more ways to include more people. It seems like, when we started this company, Smart Advertisement, it was built around creating a 1% company for the 97 percenters versus the other way around, creating a 1% company for the 3 percenters, because those people already have money, they already have an avenue, they already have a story. It's the 97 percenters, the locals, that really need that boost in advertisement and marketing themselves. So this is coming from day one from over here, so we totally understand all of that stuff. You kind of lived through adversity from minute one of your life. Talk to us a little bit about being a twin.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people who do know that I am a twin. Shout out to Derek. But no, it's one of those things, man, where my brother and I were like night and day. Even though we're fraternal twins, I was 6 minutes older. But I feel like him and I were just complete opposite, but we're the same. It's almost like when I see him, there's no space and time. But if you were to see him and I together, you'd just be like, oh, like these guys are just something else,
Like,
because
how'd that happen?
yeah. So it's one of those things where it's just like, growing up, he was my first best friend. You know what I mean? Like that's somebody who even to this day I still check up on. I call, be like, hey man, what you doing? But actually coming into this world, speaking of adversities, him and I were premature babies. So we were supposed to be born in November, but was born in July.
Okay.
And I
That's
skipped
really
four,
premature. Yeah.
like 4 months of development.
Yeah.
And I came out weighing 1 pound and 9 ounces.
Dang.
So imagine like a soda can in your palm. That's how big I was.
And now
so,
you 6 what?
Yeah. I know. It's like, would not have guessed that. Right?
So it's one of those things where I believe that God always had his hand on us. And I feel like I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
You better use it.
Yeah.
I mean, having that type of story. I mean, a lot of people go their entire life without telling their story, and that's really, what makes us unique. You kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, and the more you become you, the more you stand out. And so, I mean, living with that story, I mean, that's what makes you a little bit different from your fraternal twin, right? I mean, just, even though you're that close together, if you don't tell your story, then you're just another person.
Come on, or in a sense, somebody else would tell it, and they might not tell it the right way.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's even better. Yeah.
And people fall in love with you and your brand and what the meaning is behind it. It doesn't matter what you put on the shirt, what the logo is. Like, it's fun as much as that stuff is cool and fun. Like, it's like you should be in love with that stuff. It should represent you. But what they're really buying is supporting you and your history and what you stand for.
Yeah. Well, how do we support you? Like, how can our listeners and viewers find you on social media and support your brand and all this good stuff?
So as of right now, the way where you can find me is Instagram at Mr. MR Social Currency. No S like the actual rapper Currency. C. Really, how you can support is check this out. I have a cleaning service. It's called Aaron Executive Services, where I do window cleaning, car detailing. So that's another way y'all can support is by hey, if you need a service, I'm your guy.
There you go.
But outside of like the fashion and more so of that, the fashion I want to really roll out by the year 2021. So just wait on that. And hey, another thing is just like, I do interviews, so it's just like to be around you guys. I mean, this is just giving me more of just like something to look towards, what I mean? Because I'm still in the infantry phases, so it's one of those things where it's just like, if you see value in the things that I say, and if you find yourself being moved by what I say, then hey, come talk to me. You know what I mean? And let's set up an interview. With my interviews, I want to take entrepreneurs, creatives, or just somebody that's doing something that's positive and finding a way just to share their story.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. Well, you heard it from the man first here, Aaron Reinhardt, also known as Social Currency, because we live our brands. Our brands are, within us, and we're here to do everything we can to really just be the change needed in the world today. We've got to do the action needed for a better tomorrow. And I think when you have kids in mind, you talked a lot about that earlier. They are our future generation, obviously. So we have got to invest into them now before we have to fix broken adults. So I'm going to leave on a light note, even though that's serious stuff there. But it's stuff that we got to talk about, because without this conversation and dialogue, then we are missing a lot of things here. So we're going to give a shout out to Poddex real quick, and we're going to do a quick question from you, man. You want to pick a card?
Sure.
All right.
And
so this is out of the deck. Would you rather? Yeah.
So would you rather be covered in bees or spiders?
Spiders any day.
You hesitate on that.
Oh yeah,
no.
Because you know what, the bees, it reminds me of that. What's that movie back in the day with the little boy getting stung up by the bees?
Oh man,
I wish I remember the name.
I'm looking at it right now.
Y'all know the name.
I'm looking at it right now. Man, you know what I'm talking about. You know what? We know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I think spiders. I think about like arachnophobia, and so I just. Between both of them, I don't know.
I don't know. Bees, they can just fly, so they're just going to hover until they can see the best way to attack.
Yeah, spiders, I feel like you could run away from a little bit more effectively.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Not to cut off my friend Andy.
I'm just
here,
thinking neither one is good. I'm like, sorry. I just can't believe how quick you went to that.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to our interview here. Go follow, like, and support Social Currency on all the major platforms, and we'll be right back with our next guest, Kadeem Green. He's a local real estate investor, podcaster as well. So